So today I am challenging myself to build out a short like Ali Abdaal. So just for context, yesterday we published a short. Last time we checked, it had 4 views. Let's go ahead and update that. Oh, 531. That's sick. That's way more than I thought. But it's definitely not millions, right? Like Ali Abdaal gets in almost every short. So there's definitely something I can learn from him. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to try to follow a tutorial to copy his style for editing. I already, in the last video, we wrote a script for a programming short. While we were off the stream, I went ahead and filmed it. So now let's crack open Resolve and we will just get straight into the editing tutorial. Cool. I'm actually surprised at how many views I got on that. That's funny. So here we go, Resolve Studio 9. Ali Abdaal. Let's go ahead and throw in this. So you can see we got the short helplessness, and it's a reflex to look for a solution to a problem, even if you're capable of solving it yourself. Boom. Okay. Let's go ahead and use vertical resolution. Cool. Got that. Close the inspector for now. And what I'm going to do right off the bat is just generate a transcript. One thing you'll notice that I tried for this is I saw advice online to take 3 good takes of every line of your script. It just gives you more flexibility when you're in the editing page to really pick what's valuable and what's not, right? So I did that in this video. And you can kind of see that if we go like, I guess I didn't do it for the intro. It's called learned helplessness, and it's a reflex to look for solutions to problems before you've even... So that's the nice thing about generating a transcript is I can take this, throw it on the timeline. Right? So we've got 2 different versions. It's called learned helplessness, and it's a reflex to look for a solution to a problem even if you're capable of solving it yourself. It's called learned helplessness, and it's a reflex to look for a solution to a problem even if you're capable of solving it yourself. Right, so I think I like the first one better. But for now, we'll just mark this one, poop color, keep moving. Oh. Self. I can just delete that. I just want to see, is it? New developers may go to Stack Overflow when a solution pops up, even if they could have just solved it themselves in a couple seconds. I said solution and it should have been problem. So now the question is, do I refilm it? Oh, shoot. I'll just mark it and I'll keep moving. There's no red, which is kind of stinky. And it's particularly significant now that we can wait for coding assistants to suggest code instead of us having to type code for us instead of trying it ourselves. To suggest code for us instead. And it's particularly significant now that we can wait for AI assistants to suggest code for us instead of trying it ourselves. Boom. So here we go. We got 3. Okay. So check this out. We now have right, like 2 minutes of content. This one habit is secretly keeping you stuck in tutorial hell. It's called learned helplessness, and it's a reflex to look for a solution to a problem even if you're capable of solving it yourself. It's called learned helplessness. So let's just do timeline 1. We're gonna do base edit. Go ahead and remove that. Learned helplessness can lead to feelings of hopelessness, low motivation, and make you want to give up. Learned helplessness can lead to feelings of hopelessness, low motivation, and feeling like you want to give up. And this is too easy for programmers to do. And this is too easy for programmers to do. And this is too easy for programmers to do. And this is too easy for programmers to do. New developers may go to Stack Overflow when a solution pops up, even if they could have just solved it themselves in a couple seconds. And it's particularly significant now that we can wait for AI assistants to suggest code for us instead of trying it ourselves. And it's a I should probably check the chat. What? I got my first helpful critique. That's wow. Insightful and Great. Okay, so the goal is to try to finish this in a day. So we have the cuts. Let's get It's through that really particularly quick. significant now that we can wait for AI assistants to suggest code for us instead of trying it ourselves. And it's especially significant now that we can wait for AI assistants to suggest code for us instead of trying it ourselves. And it's especially significant now that we can wait for AI assistants to suggest code for us instead of trying it ourselves. I like that one the best. The big problem is that if we already You know what I need to do is play back. I need to go to timeline. It's got to be in timeline. But the big problem is that if we only practice what other people can already do, we can't create anything new for ourselves. So how do we break this habit? How do we break this habit? How do we break this habit ourselves? So let's see this. This is how do we break this habit? How do we break this habit? So how do we break this habit? First, I think I like the third one the best again. How do we break this habit? For ourselves, when you hit a problem, set a timer and try to solve it yourself before looking at any other resources. For ourselves, I like this one way better. But let's bring these back. How do we break this habit? Let's see that. So how do we break this habit? For ourselves, when you hit a problem, set a timer and see if you can solve it without looking at any other resources. How do we break this habit? So how do we break this habit? For ourselves, when you hit a problem, set a timer and see if you can solve it without looking at any other resources. So how do we break this habit? How do we break this habit? For ourselves, so how do we break this habit? For ourselves, when you hit a problem, set a timer and try to solve it yourself before looking at any other resources. For others, encourage new developers. How do we break this habit? For ourselves, when you hit a problem, set a timer and see if you can solve it without looking at any other resources. So how do we break this habit. For ourselves, when you hit a problem, set a timer and try to solve it yourself before at ourselves. But the big problem is that if we only practice what other people can already do, we can't create anything new for ourselves. So how do we break this habit? How do we break this habit? For ourselves, I think I want it to be more of a transition than a... You hit a problem, set a timer, and see if you can solve it. When you hit a problem, set a timer and see if you can solve it without looking at any other resources. For others, encourage new developers to embrace the struggle and remind them that this is only going to help them become better developers in the future. For others, encourage new developers to find problems only they can solve and remind them that the struggle now is going to help them become a better developer in the future. For others, so I'm at least going to remove that one. For others, encourage new developers to find problems that only they can solve and remind them that the struggle now is only going to help them in the future. Encourage new developers to find problems that only they can solve and remind them that the struggle now is only going to help them in the future. Encourage new developers to find problems only they can solve and remind them that the struggle now is going to help them become a better developer in the future. For others, encourage new developers. I think that's enough. For others, encourage new other resources. For others, encourage new developers to find problems that only they can solve and remind them that the struggle now is only going to help them in the future. Boom. 57, so less than a minute. This one habit is secretly keeping you stuck in tutorial hell. It's called learned helplessness, and it's a reflex to look for a solution to a problem even if you're capable of solving it yourself. Learned helplessness can lead to feelings of hopelessness, low motivation, and feeling like you want to give up. And this is too easy for programmers to do. Let's watch and see which one sounds or looks better. And this is too easy for programmers to do. They're both fine. Let's just do this one. New developers may go to Stack Overflow when a solution pops up, even if they could have just solved it themselves in a couple seconds. And it's especially so let's go through real quick. Man, this clip is going to bother me. Let's actually do this. Let's pull up. Do they have, no, I don't have it here. Just have school. At some point, I'm going to build a community.
And unproductive. But the best thing Ali does in this short is what he does next in relating it directly back to the audience with one simple question. So how can we use this to our advantage? Which he then answers in his final part of his short, a key takeaway that his audience can use to directly benefit their lives.
For ourselves, we can try and be more aware that halo effect exists and try to do things to make a good first impression. And whether we can try not to let one positive or one negative trait define our entire perception of them.
So to summarize, these are the 7 key script elements that Ali used to craft his short. So now we know what to say. How do we film it like Ali to get that professional, clean look? Well, let's first start with his setup. And you'll notice a few things here. So Ali's sitting at a desk with some fake plants and a keyboard sitting in front of him, which gives a really nice minimalistic, clean setup. And it also allows him to lean forward on the desk and provide a much more conversational tone. But also notice he doesn't set up his camera angle straight on, but rather angles it off to the side, which in my opinion gives it a more sort of natural look. The next thing we need to look at is the background. 3 things here. Firstly, kind of a staple in his videos is just having a bookshelf and some plants in the background, which provides a really nice look. But then to make sure that that isn't too distracting, he uses a low aperture setting on his camera, which basically makes the background blurry. For instance, on my camera here, I'm using a 1.7 aperture setting on my Panasonic Lumix GH5S. But if you really want your videos to look like Ali, throw in a blue RGB light pointing up the background and then throw in an LED light strip running across in a nice warm color tone. And of course, you have to light yourself, your subject, and you can't do any better than using a nice big light with a softbox. But if you don't have access to any of these items or all of them, it doesn't really matter. It's just the icing on the cake, and really it's the structure and the editing that helps bring Ali's videos to life. So once you film the A-roll for your video, aka the parts where you're speaking to your camera, drag it into your editing software of choice. Personally, I'll be using Premiere Pro and After Effects to create this short. And the first step in Premiere Pro is to cut out any bad takes, pauses, or any breaths in your footage. Also at this point, make sure your video does not exceed 60 seconds in duration, otherwise you can't post it to YouTube as a
Let's go, baby.
short. A quick tip to avoid this being a problem is when you're writing a script, record yourself saying it aloud using your voice notes app and see how long it actually goes for before you film it. And make the edits before you film it rather than after. And now we've got out of the way the part I'm sure you've all been waiting for, the effects. So let's start by modeling this intro scene here, which looks awesome. So there's a couple of things going on here. First, we have a paper tear cutting off the top half of the screen. We have Ali rotoed out so you can see the top of his head after that paper tear clip. We have a paper background that's moving around with some texture overlaid on top of that. We have some text animation, a cool little highlighter effect, and then some graphics as well. When we break this down, there's a lot going on here, but considering this is the hook of the video and it has to captivate someone who's potentially swiped through 50 videos prior, it does a great job at getting their attention. And just so you know, I'll show you how to do the subtitles like this at the end of the video. So first off, let me show you how to cut yourself out of your footage, which is going to be a recurring effect that we use throughout this shorts creation process. Now you could use an AI tool like Runway Green Screen to do this, but I think the easiest way, because I'm already going to be working in After Effects, is to just use the roto brush tool. And if we actually look at Ali's clips, it's not really perfectly cut out, so it doesn't have to be a perfect job here. I just need something that gets the basic shape of myself cut out from my footage. So the first step is obviously to get our footage into After Effects. So this is the point where you want to be a little bit strategic and look at your clips and decide where you're going to have transitions between two different sections. So if we look at Ali's short here, we can see a clear example of this. We have the intro transition into the graphics and animation at the beginning, and then if we scrub through the video a little bit, we'll see another transition back into the main footage. So when you're going through your own video, you want to think about where you're going to transition into graphics and then where you're going to transition back out into your footage. So once you know the clips that are going to be in the first segment that you're going to animate in After Effects, highlight those clips, right click on it, and select Replace with After Effects Composition. This is then going to open After Effects and put all of
Okay, so this is a little different for us if you're in Resolve. It's actually really easy. This one habit is secretly keeping you stuck in tutorial hell. I think that's where tutorial hell. In tutorial. You stuck. Okay, let's go into the color page. This is how you crop really quick in DaVinci Resolve. So let's go here. Click here. Let's just go ahead and draw here. Make sure we're showing that. But then I want to okay, let's just go ahead and render that. That's weird. I don't know what's going on. All the good love When we're all alone, give it up, girl. Yeah, you turn me on. Now, bam, bam. Hooked on a feeling. Cool. All right, so we're good on that. Now we just need to add alpha output, connect that. And right, like if we insert black, bring that over, we've got this.
Stuck in tutorial hell.
It's fine.
Stuck in tutorial. Stuck in tutorial hell.
It's called
Stuck in tutorial hell.
It's called learned helplessness. Okay. It's called learned. So let's see.
All those clips into a new composition. Now we're going to use the roto brush tool. So first, duplicate a clip that you're going to be working on by pressing Control D, which again you'll see highlighted in pink, and you can make any adjustments, either adding things to it or removing using the brush. Keep going through your footage. Sometimes you can skip a couple of frames and the selection works really well. But once you are happy with your selection, click on the freeze button. This is going to lock in our selections and cut out our footage that we can use in our overall composition. But once it's done, head back to your main composition by clicking this little tab here, and you'll see that your footage is now cut out. So now let's do the paper tear effect. And it's actually pretty easy to do if you have the right asset. And all you really need is a black and white clip of a paper tear animation going across the screen, which we're going to use as a track mat. Now I found this one on Envato Elements, which is going to work perfectly.
Here we go. 12.
What's going on, guys? It's your boy Adam. I'm back with another video. Today's video I'm going to be releasing some green screen paper rip transitions. And yeah, it's going to be real cool, real quick video today. And to get these transitions, all you gotta do is follow me on Instagram, follow my personal page, and follow my business page, and then send me a DM, and then I'll send the link to you. So without further ado, let's get into the video. But before we get into the video,
Okay. Can I use these? That obviously isn't what you wanted. I mean, he says this has was created to make your projects more cool. So I always forget what it's called. Okay, let's go into effects. Oh, whoops, I don't even have my media plugged in. So cool. Got this. Easy store editing assets. Now effects. Let's throw the paper tear in there. Okay. I'll probably need this. I might need this. And this. Let's create a new bin called effects.
Stuck in tutorial hell.
It's called learned helplessness, and it's a reflex to look. Boom. So now let's just keep watching his video.
For this short. Once you've got the clip, drag it into After Effects and then into your composition just above the layer that you want to apply the tear to. Now we're going to do something here to set it up so we can make this tear a little bit faster later on. So right click on the clip and select time, then enable time remapping. Go to the point in the footage where the tear is complete, and then click on this little keyframe button to add a time keyframe. Then go to the very start of the clip where the tear animation begins. So the whole entire screen is just white or black. And add another keyframe. Now on the last keyframe where the tear is complete, right click on that one and select toggle hold keyframe. This is then going to allow us to stretch out the duration of that clip as long as we need it, so the tear will be applied to our footage for again as long as we need it to be. Now I also wanted to flip the direction of my tear so it matched Ali's. So in order to do that, all you need to do is right click on the layer again, go to transform, and then flip horizontal. Now time to apply the tear. Go to the footage layer that you want to apply the tear to, and then where it says no matte. And if you don't see this, just click this little button here that says toggle switches. Click on the button that says no matte and select the layer with the paper tear on it. And then click on this button to make it a luma mask. This is going to use the black and white values to cut out your footage. And you'll see as I drag along my playhead, it now cuts out my footage like it's being teared up. And the cool thing is I can now adjust this paper tear clip layer and move it around and it'll cut out my footage wherever I put it. Now at the moment the tear is a little bit slow, so to make it faster, all I need to do is select those last two keyframes of the time remapping. If you can't see these anymore, click on the clip and press U. This will bring up those keyframes. Select the last two by highlighting them and drag them closer to the front one. And because we have that toggle hold keyframe, we can now drag out the end of the clip as long as we need it. Now if I turn back on my rotoscope layer, you can see that the tear cuts across the screen and my head is still visible. But you also notice that there's a little bit of footage that's missing. No problem, easy fix. Just duplicate the footage layer one more time. In the part where we select the track map, make sure that is on none now, and then all you want to do is go up here and click on the pen tool icon and mask out just below where the tear is on the footage. This will then just mask out the footage to that specific area and fill in any of those gaps. And now you can see the first part of the short is done. Now we need to move all of these layers down to provide room.
Okay. So we're just working on the
Stuck
tear
in
effect.
tutorial hell.
It's called. Oh yeah.
Stuck in tutorial hell.
It's called. Let's just enable transform. Oh.
Stuck in tutorial.
Oh, wait. That is interesting. Because we are doing... Shoot. Let me think about this. Okay, so note to future self, don't wear headphones.
Stuck in tutorial hell. Stuck in tutorial hell. Stuck in stuck in tutorial. Stuck in stuck in tutorial.
Let's actually search how to do that.
How to time stretch your footage in DaVinci Resolve. On the timeline, make sure your clip is selected and press Ctrl R. The speed change options will come up. These blue arrows indicate that your clip is 100%. To drag this out, simply click and drag, and as you drag...
Cool. Didn't know you could do that. Makes it really easy. Before I do that, let me just make sure that we are at the right.
Stuck in tutorial hell.
Call.
Stuck in tutorial hell.
Call.
Stuck in
Then this is what I actually want to do is.
I was wrong about freeze frames in DaVinci Resolve, and I couldn't be happier. The mistake I made was freeze frames in DaVinci Resolve always kind of frustrated me because in Final Cut Pro they have something called hold frames. So if you have a clip and you want it to just freeze a frame, you just go to the frame you want to freeze and you press Shift H and it creates a hold frame, and you can extend that out or make it as short as you want. And if you double click it, you can actually add a speed transition so it smooths out coming out of it. So I really like that in Final Cut Pro, and I just got used to it, where in DaVinci Resolve, the way I was working was I would go to the clip that I wanted, go to speed change, just click the snowflake right there, and that creates a freeze frame, and then I would go out, create a cut, click on the clip I wanted, and then just press the direction forward button, and then it would separate the clip into 3 parts. And that's the way I used to work, and just because I didn't know, but I'm gonna show you how the proper way to do it is. You find the frame that you want, open up your speed editor, which is Command R on the Mac, and this is where you can do speed ramps and all that kind of fun stuff. The thing that I never clicked on before, because I would always right click on the clip, and there was no option like in Final Cut Pro to create a freeze frame, but the thing that I was missing was this little drop down. If you click on that, there it is, freeze frame. Click freeze frame, and what happens? The same thing that happens in Final Cut Pro, where it creates a frozen moment in that clip.
Okay, so it is.
Doc in tutorial house.
Called.
In
So then we want to do an effect for a 3D keyer. Let's see. Let's just go to pixels and okay. Okay. So what I think would be the best way to do this is just to get the 3D keyer. Throw it on here. Go to OpenFX overlay. Despill. So let's figure out how to do this. Resolve. To
click without separating it into drop down. If you click on that, there it is, freeze frame. Click and all that kind of fun stuff. The thing that I never clicked on before, because I would always right click on the clip and there was no.
let me see again how he.
For our graphics and titles. But currently there are 4. Is select those last 2 keyframes of the timer map. To cut out your footage. And you'll see as I drag along my playhead, it now cuts out my footage like it's being teared up. And the cool thing is I can now adjust this paper tear clip layer and move it around and it will cut out my footage wherever I put it. Now at the moment,
Let me see that one more time.
now I found this one on Envato Elements, which is going to work perfectly for this short. Once you've got the clip, drag it into After Effects and then into your composition just above the layer that you want to apply the tear to. Now we're going to do something here to set it up so we can make this tear a little bit faster later on. So right click on the clip and select time, and then enable time remapping. Go to the point in the footage where the tear is complete, and then click on this little keyframe button to add a time keyframe. Then go to the very start of the clip where the tear animation begins. So the whole entire screen is just white or black, and add another keyframe. Now on the last keyframe where the tear is complete, right click on that one and select toggle hold keyframe. This is then going to allow us to stretch out the duration of that clip as long as we need it, so the tear will be applied to our footage for, again, as long as we need it to be. Now I also wanted to flip the direction of my tear so it matched Ali's, so in order to do that, all you need to do is right click on the layer again, go to transform, and then flip horizontal. Now time to apply the tear. Go to the footage layer that you want to apply the tear to, and then where it says no matte, and if you don't see this, just click this little button here that says toggle switches. Click on the button that says no matte and select the layer with the paper tear on it. And then click on this button to make it a luma mask. This is going to use the black and white value.
Okay. So then
So you want to make a video or object in DaVinci Resolve black or white? Good luck for you. It's incredibly easy. I'm going to show you super quick right after you hit the like and subscribe button. Thanks for that. Now, all you need to do is have the playhead over top of whatever you want to turn black and white. Come down here to right where I'm pointing, the color tab. Now, once over here, you're probably going to be on this color wheel. Now, all you need to do is select RGB mixer. Come down to the bottom and check off right where I'm pointing, right there. RGB mixer, and boom, you see it turned black.
Stuck in tutorial hell. It's called tutorial hell. It's called stuck in tutorial hell.
Black and white. It's that easy. But let's say there's an object over it, like this heart. Now that's incredibly easy as well. Let's go over to the color tab, uncheck monochrome, and all you have to do is put the playhead over top of where that object is. And remember, this is very important to remember. Whatever is on top, it will be turned black and white and only that thing. So right now the playhead is over top of the heart. Go to the color tab, we're over in the RGB mixer and select monochrome. So boom, the heart turned black and white, but not the video. So if you want the thing underneath, you just got to move the top object away, go the same way, color tab, check monochrome.
Okay.
So
Let's see. Maybe object mask.
Hello world. In this video, I'll show you one of DaVinci Resolve's coolest new features, the object mask. Very easily, you can learn how to make a masking like this. And while object masking and all the other cool new features based on AI technology in DaVinci Resolve might sound intimidating and might sound like you need a high level of technical skills and fusion knowledge, you really don't have to. They're all very easy to use. You just need to know the workflow. So let's jump on over to DaVinci Resolve and I'll have you going in no time. Okay, so here we are in DaVinci Resolve, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to find my clip, and if we quickly scroll through it, you can see we fly by this nice cliff, and I want to reveal the text over the water and the sky in the background as we pass the cliff here.
No, that's not it.
Hello everybody, Chris here, and in this video I want to show you guys how you can take any image as a shape and then use it as a mask to control what areas of your video can actually show through. So in a sense, you can have video fit the silhouette of a shape. So there would be, of course, multiple ways to do this in Resolve, but the way I found was the easiest is to go over to the color page with a clip in the timeline, of course. And on the color page, what you can do is drag in your shape into the node section here. So I'm going to take this DaVinci Resolve logo and pop it in here. So what you'll see is the outline of the shape as an external matte node. And then what we need to do is to feed the top blue from here into the alpha channel for this top node. So we're going to take the matte here and use that as the mask essentially for this top node. And when we do that, you should see the outline of this shape be reflected up here. So when we have our final output, only the areas inside of that shape are going to show through. In order for that to appear, we actually have to have an alpha output channel. So I'm going to right click and add a alpha output. And now we need to feed this node's output to the final output for the clip in the timeline. And just like that, we have the shape. Hello everybody, Chris here, and in this video I want to show you guys how you can take any image as a shape and then use it as a mask to control what areas of your video can actually show through. So in a sense, you can have video fit the silhouette of a shape. So there would be here and use that as the mask. So if you need to move it to a corner, you can do that. So anyway, when you position and size it correctly, of the shape that we want to put in here so that the video image can fit inside of it. So we can use programs like GIMP for this. So what I'm going to do is open up this black wolf PNG and change it to be completely white. The reason for this is that we're going to do a color multiply composite mode, which means that all the colors are going to multiply by this white, and white is basically 100% of each value. So if you multiply a color by 100%, it's going to be that color. And then everything outside of it is just going to be this transparent area. So in this case, I can just take the paint bucket and fill it in really easily. Depending on what shape you're using, it might be a little trickier than that. But whatever way you need to do it, just make your shape completely white. Now I'm going to export. So I'll call this wolf.png, and now we just need to put this inside of Resolve. Okay, so what I did is I moved the original video clip to video track 2 on a new timeline. What we need is the wolf PNG to go under that. So we can't see it right now, but if I hide video track 2, we can see our wolf image. So when we use the multiply composite mode, only this area is going to be filled in because that's the area that has the white color. So
Doc in tutorial. It's called Doc in tutorial.
Because, okay, I'm not explaining the problem well, but
Use to cut out your footage. And you'll see as I drag along my playhead, it now cuts out my footage like it's being teared up. And the cool thing is I can now adjust this paper tear clip layer and move it around and it'll cut out my footage wherever I put it. Now at the moment the tear is a little bit slow, so to make it faster, all I need to do is select those last 2 keyframes of the time remapping. And if you can't see these anymore, click on the clip and press U. This will bring up those keyframes. Select the last 2 by highlighting them and drag them closer to the front one. And because we have that toggle hold keyframe, we can now drag out the end of the clip as long as we need it. Now if I turn back on my rotoscope layer, you can see that the tear cuts across the screen and my head is still visible. But you also notice that there's a little bit of footage that's missing. No problem, easy fix. Just duplicate the footage layer one more time. In part where we selected the track map, make sure that is on none now. And then all you want to do is go up here and click on the pen tool icon and mask out just below where the tear is on the footage. This will then just mask out the footage to that specific area and fill in any of those gaps. And now you can see the first part of the short is done. Now we need to move all of these layers down to provide room for our graphics and titles. So currently there are 4 individual layers, and if I try moving one, none of the others will move. So how do we group all of these together and move them at the same time, just like Ali? All you need to do is go up and click on the layer and new null object while holding control.
So it's the opposite of what I did. So it's actually this. So let's see what this looks like.
Doc in tutorial. It's called in tutorial.
Okay. Okay, let's just see this.
So you want to learn how to mask in DaVinci Resolve, and you don't know where to start? There are so many different ways that you can use masking to level up your editing ability. It just blows my mind all the time. Well, in this video, I'm going to be showing you 3 of the key things that I use on a regular basis to make my videos just stand out that little bit more. Oh, yeah. My name's Dan, and you're watching DaVinci. Let's go. Okay, with that all out of the way, I just want to say a huge thanks for hitting 3,000 subscribers. I don't have a clue how mask tracking done. Let's move on to time lapses. Okay, so I have this really cool GoPro shot of someone driving through a high street in the UK. This already looks quite cool, but obviously there are ways to make your time lapses look way more dramatic. If we jump into the color tab and we have our corrector node, this time jumping over to the masking tab, I want you to click on the circle, create a circle, and then what I want you to do is search in the effects library, zoom. Now zoom blur will appear. Drag zoom blur over to your corrector node. Now we want to invert this mask. Go down to your masking tab and click this button here. This is your invert button. Now what we can do is soften the mask a little bit. So let's go over to the soften controls here and soften it a bit, make it a bit less extreme. And if we click play now, it already looks a bit better. Now I might make that a bit stronger. I might also adjust the mask. So I'm going to adjust that a bit, do it like that. There you go. It already looks quite dramatic. It just looks like it's going 10 times faster. Time to move on to masking within Fusion. Now I know Fusion can be scary, so do not worry. I've got a video of a waffle that I'm going to be editing in this video, just to cheer you up and make you feel a little bit less overwhelmed by the fact that we're in Fusion. So with this waffle, it actually falls over. Now, as you can see, I've got an emoji to the left of the waffle, and I want this emoji to appear behind the waffle. Okay, so for context, let's have a look at the node tree I currently have. Right now I have the waffle shop connected to a merge node, which has the emoji and the transform node for that emoji connected to the merge node, which then obviously leads to the media route. Obviously, if you want to put text behind something, the emoji will be the text in your use case. So let's put the emoji behind the waffle. Using your transform node, let's move the object behind the waffle like so. Then clicking on your emoji or your object that you want to mask, click on this button here and it will create a polygon mask. Now what you want to do is draw around the object that is covering the emoji or the object. Now that we've created our polygon mask, you might notice the emoji is showing. We need to just go to the top right corner in the inspector tab and click on invert.
Open the magic mask by shift and space. And just to make a quick line, I want all of this very quick. I need to subtract. This is the add, this is the subtract. Just tell DaVinci I don't want this one. I'm strongly recommend to make it better. It's looking much smoother. Go to the matte and just a little bit, make it blur. Not too much, just a little bit. Open the magic.
That's
Video within text, like this. Want to change the background color? Easy. Put another video as the background instead. We can do that too. As by using a PNG, like my logo here. We can mask with that as well. You can actually use PNGs of any shape to do some really cool masking. And you can do all of this masking on the edit page really quickly and really easily in DaVinci Resolve. But before we do, let me just take 20 seconds of your wonderful time to thank this video's sponsor, Scan Pro Video. Scan Pro Video is one of the UK's leading providers of equipment for professional video production. They have everything. Cameras, lenses, audio equipment, lighting, stands, monitors, and everything in between. Let's open up DaVinci Resolve, jump onto the edit page, and take a look. So let's start off with the video within titles to get us going. So the first thing you need to do, open up the effects library, top left, come down to titles, and then grab literally any title from here. It can even be Fusion titles or custom titles, whatever. I'm just going to grab the standard text title and pop it on our timeline like so. Let's lengthen that out a little bit like this, and then we'll give it a click so it's highlighted in red on the timeline. There's nothing there. The only thing that's actually on screen really at the moment are these letters A, L, E, and X, and that's key to what we're doing. So the next step, we need to convert this into a mask. So what we need to do within the inspector, go to settings, scroll down until you get to this composite area, click on the composite mode dropdown. It will
composite. There we go.
Dock into
currently say normal, scroll all the way down to the bottom, and you want to convert this to be the alpha. This is making this a mask. Now by default, it'll look like nothing's changed at all. So now we just need to do the next step, which is add our video. So I'm going to grab my video.
dock in tutorial help. Dock in tutorial.
From the media pool and pop it on the timeline like so above our title. Then we give that a click. In the inspector, do the same thing. So inspector, video, scroll down until you get to composite mode, change this from normal. This time around we need to change this to be the foreground. And that's it. You're done. So now we can
Stuck in tutorial hell.
F.
Stuck in tutorial.
How to adjust brightness and contrast inside DaVinci Resolve. Highlight your media and then click on the color right here. Once inside the color page, you want to click on this look right here. A new panel will appear, and if you want to increase the brightness, you have to work with shadows and highlights. By increasing the values of shadows and highlights, you're increasing the overall brightness of the footage. Also, if you want to decrease the brightness of the footage, you need to set up a negative values of shadows and highlights. That way your footage will become more darker. And of course, if you want to increase the amount of contrast on the footage, you have to go here where it says contrast. It's pretty straightforward. You just have to increase the amount of contrast.
Okay.
Tutorial. Stuck in tutorial. Into
Fusion.
Hi guys, today we're going to be doing this page tier transition that looks ultra realistic to a certain extent, yeah? You like what you see? Let's get to it. Let's go to media pool. I pulled in some footage from pexels.com, link in the description. Let's delete the audio, we don't need that. Let's based on the inspector, go to the color tab, increase alpha to 1, go to noise, set the contrast to 1.5, the detail let's drag it to 10, then the scale let's put it at 2.5. Now connect this to the orange to the green image of the displays and connect the Abdaal transform to the orange image of the displays. Connect that to the orange image, yeah. If you drag to the viewer now, you see nothing has happened. If you click on displays, go to inspector, change the type to XY. Now go to X refraction, set that to 0.125. And Y refraction sets this to 0.1. So we see we have this jagged edge thing. Now this output here, let's bring in another transform, connect this to this transform, and I want to go to this transform and increase the size to 1.1. I feel I need to do this for some other reason, but let's just move on. Now we're done with this. Let's bring in a matte control node, shift spacebar, matte, not matte clean, matte control, click on that, click on add, pull that in here, right click on the output of transform 2, drop it on matte control, and connect to the garbage matte. On matte control, go to garbage matte, then click on invert. Now we see my input to the matte control, so we drag media in one, and connect to the orange input of the matte control, drag this to the left viewer, so we have that masking that. So I want to create some jagged edges to indicate paper. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in and copy this fast noise, for example. So copy this, paste that here. The only thing I will change
Oh my gosh.
Let's focus on the first one. The first one being this one here. On the back of it, just a plane. So I'm going to go and create an image plane, bring down that image plane. Now this image plane will be driven by, if you go here and drag this here, so we have this. I'm going to bring in the math control. When it folds up completely, that's at this point is when I want the center to kick in. So I'm going to right click on.
In this video, we'll create an amazing YouTube short step-by-step inspired by the incredible edits of Ali Abdaal. I'll guide you through creating stunning icon animations and a dynamic paper rip transition and show you how to integrate these effects into your own projects. And the best part, we'll be doing it all with a free version of DaVinci Resolve. So let's get started. All right, so here I am on the edit page of DaVinci Resolve. Our first task is to set up the project resolution. By default, my project resolution is 1920 by 1080, so we need to change it. To do this, if you look at the original animation, you'll notice that when the app icons appear and leave the viewer, it almost looks like they're rotating in a 360-degree motion, giving the impression of a circular movement. You'll also see that the left icon faces the right, and the right icon faces the left. Currently, our icons appear flat, so we need to adjust them to match the original animation. Although I'm not sure exactly how they achieve this effect, we can create something similar with a simple method. Click on the transform node, press Ctrl+ space to open the tools section, then search for lens distort. Click on it to select, then click on add. We need to adjust a few settings to achieve the effect. In the inspector, click on the mini arrow of the lens distort model. Now click on this model section to see different models. Scroll down to the last one called PF track. Keep an eye on the viewer while we make adjustments. First, increase the low order distort slightly, then increase the high order distort to around 0.08. Let me decrease the lower distort a bit and check how it looks. If you notice in the viewer, we've already achieved a similar effect where the left and right, how you can add it to your own video. It is actually quite simple. First of all, select all these nodes except the media out node, then press Ctrl+G. It will create a group that contains all of our nodes. Okay, now go to the media pool and bring in your video clip. It will become a media in node. Now if I drag this to the viewer, you will see that it is actually 4K. You can directly add your animation to it, but you might need to adjust the size as well as the position because we made the animation in HD resolution. If you create the animation in 4K, then you're fine, but I made it in full HD. Let me adjust the workspace a little. Our paper transition will appear between these two nodes or clips, whichever you prefer to call them. First, select all these nodes and move them to the left. Then, go to the media pool and drag the paper rip transition to the node line. Place it after our main animation. Adjust the position of this node by placing the media in node here. Then select both and organize them accordingly. Keeping things organized is important. Now click on the merge node and rename it as paper transition. You might have noticed that we've connected the transition clip, but it's still not appearing in the viewer. The reason is that our transition clip is only a few frames long. Let me show you what I mean. Click on the media in node of the paper transition, then go to the inspector. You'll see a slider label as global in and out. This shows how long your clip duration is. Currently, it's 39 frames. The middle value represents the total duration. The left box value indicates the first frame or global in value. And the right box value indicates the global out value or in frame. Now if I go somewhere between those frames, you'll see our paper transition. And after frame 38, it ends. So we need to change its global in value to make it appear at the proper time. Since the transition will appear once our first animation ends, we need to change the global in value accordingly. Our first animated clip ends at frame 95, so our paper transition should appear right after that. Go to the inspector, make sure you selected the media in node of the paper transition, and from here, click in the middle of the slider and drag it to the right. I'll place it at frame 96, one frame after our first clip's animation ends. Now we need to adjust this clip to fit properly with the viewer. First, let me change the playback area and find where the transition starts. Looks like it's at frame 115. Click on the paper transition node and adjust its size until it fits with the viewer. As for the position, click and change it accordingly. It might look a bit different when you make adjustments, so keep an eye on the viewer and make the necessary changes. Next, click on the media node and search for delta keyer. Select it and then click on add. Let me adjust these nodes a bit. Now click on the delta keyer node, go to the inspector, and from the background color section, take the color picker and move it to the viewer to select the green color. If I move the playhead slightly, you'll see the transition is ripping the clip, revealing the blue background behind it. The transition currently happens from the top right angle to the bottom left, but I want it to be horizontal. So I'll click on the paper transition node, go to the inspector, and change the angle until it aligns horizontally. If you notice that the transition is getting cut off on both sides, you'll need to increase the size. You can easily change the size by clicking on the clip area in the viewer and dragging it. So I'm rushing through these last parts because my disk cache is almost full and it already crashed a few times. Now we need to remove the dark green color to reveal the background we made. To do this, we'll use another delta keyer, but this one needs to be added after the paper transition node, otherwise it won't work. Click on the paper transition node and add another delta keyer. This time, use the color picker to select the blue color. The moment you choose the blue color, you'll notice that our background has also changed since it was kind of blue too. We need to fix that, but first, let's see if it's affecting anything else. I suspect it might also affect the Facebook icon. Let me check. Yes, as you can see, the Facebook icon's color has changed too. We need to correct this. There's a simple way to do this. In the inspector, you'll find an option called reference. Take a picker from here and choose the color that you don't want to change. In my case, it's the Facebook icon and the background of the video. Since the Facebook icon is a bit darker blue, I'll choose that one. Move the picker to the Facebook icon. Now let's see how the transition is looking. I'll move the play a little. If you look at the edges, there's some blurred colors. We can't use this as a reference because it will ruin our progress, but we can erase it using another method. Go to the inspector, find the matte option, and click on it to open the tab. From here, decrease the row dilate value all the way down, and now the blur has vanished. Alright, now let's animate the snapshot icon. It will come out from the first clip as the second clip reveals, and then once the transition is finished, it will fit into this BG node. We need to change both the position and the size, but we can't do that with our current icon since it's actually behind our BG node. This is why we need to copy the snapshot node along with its animation. First, let me drag the workspace to the side so you can see properly. Now move this group a little up from the other nodes, then double click to open it. Let me pull the group a little up. Alright, now select all the nodes from the snapshot icon to the distortion node, then copy them by pressing Ctrl+C. Close the group by clicking on the mini cross. Let's move the workspace to view the last nodes since the icon will appear on top of everything. Click once, then press Ctrl+V to paste the nodes. Let me see where I can put all these nodes. I guess a little bit upward around here is good. Now take the output of this distortion node and connect it with the output of our last merge node. To make the snapshot icon appear, we'll need a background node for the frame. Bring a background node and connect its output with the merge node of the snapshot icon. Now it's appearing. Go to the inspector and change its output to 0. Alright, so here I've renamed the merge node of the video clip and the character. I've also deleted the copied YT node since we don't need that. Now if you see the position of this new snapshot icon, it's a bit off because we changed the position of the merge node connected to the group. So click on this merge node and copy its Y offset. Then click on our last merge node and paste the value. Okay, so the Snapchat logo animation will start just as the paper edge is about to cover it. Frame 122 seems like a good spot for this. If it's different for you, find the proper frame. Once you've found it, click on this merge node and add a keyframe for the center XY and size. Now press the right arrow key on your keyboard to move to the frame where the background fully reveals itself. Frame 131 for me. On this frame, adjust the Y offset to position the Snapchat icon in the middle, then increase its size a little bit. You might need to tweak the Y offset a bit more until it looks just right. This looks fine now. Next, open the spline tab and just select this merge node. Press zoom to fit. Select the keyframes and press S to smooth them out. Then change the ease in and out value to somewhere around 40 to 45. Now let's play and see how it looks. Well, it's looking pretty good, but we have a few problems. First, the blurred Snapchat icon is still there, so we need to move it. Second, our video clip appears the moment our transition ends, so we need to fix that. First, let's fix the background issue. Simply select the background and film grain nodes and copy them. Then at the point before our Snapchat icon animation, paste them, arrange them like me.
What the heck? Okay.
animation. Adjust the position of this node by placing the media in node here. Then select both and organize them accordingly. Keeping things organized is important. Now click on the merge node and rename it as paper transition. You might have noticed that we've connected the transition clip, but it's still not appearing in the viewer. The reason is that our transition clip is only a few frames long. Let me show you what I mean. Click on the media in node of the paper transition, then go to the inspector. You'll see a slider label as global in and out. This shows how long your clip duration is. Currently, it's 39 frames. The middle value represents the total duration. The left box value indicates the first frame or global in value, and the right box value indicates the global out value or in frame. Now if I go somewhere between those frames, you'll see our paper transition, and after frame 38, it ends. So, we need to change its global in value to make it appear at the proper time. Since the transition will appear once our first animation ends, we need to change the global in value accordingly. Our first animated clip ends at frame 95, so our paper transition should appear right after that. Go to the inspector, make sure you selected the media in node of the paper transition, and from here, click in the middle of this slider and drag it to the right. I'll place it at frame 96. One frame after our first clip's animation ends. Now we need to adjust this clip to fit properly with the viewer. First, let me change the playback area and find where the transition starts. Looks like it's at frame 115. Click on the paper transition node and adjust its size until it fits with the viewer. As for the position, click and change it accordingly. It might look a bit different when you make adjustments. So keep an eye on the viewer and make the necessary fits with the viewer. As for the position, click and adjust its size until it fits with the viewer. Click on the paper where the transition starts. Looks like it's at frame 115. Click on the paper transition node and adjust its size until it fits with the viewer. As for the position, click and change it accordingly. It might look a bit different when you make adjustments, so keep an eye on the viewer and make the necessary changes. Next, click on the media node and search for delta key here. Select it and then click on add. Let me adjust these nodes a bit. Now click on the delta key node, go to the inspector, and from the background color section, take the color picker and move it to the viewer to select the green color. Changes. Next, click on the media node and search for delta key here. Select it and then click on add. Let me adjust these nodes. Nodes a bit. Now click on the delta key node, go to the inspector, and from the background color section, take the color picker and move it to the viewer to select. Select the green color. If I move the playhead slightly, you'll see that the transition is ripping the clip, revealing the blue background behind it.
Okay. Let's just do this. Shoot, this is very, very frustrating. So this is what we'll do. Delta Kier. I want to do invert. All I need to do is make this white. The cutoff.
Click on the paper transition node and adjust its size until it fits with the viewer. As for the position, click and change it accordingly. It might look a bit different when you make adjustments, so keep an eye on the viewer and make the necessary changes. Next, click on the media node and search for delta keyer. Select it and then click on add. Let me adjust these nodes a bit. Now click on the delta keyer node, go to the inspector, and from the background color section, take a color picker and move it to the viewer to select the green color. If I move the playhead slightly, you'll see that the transition is ripping the clip, revealing the blue background behind it.
And see our video playing within our text. Simple. So the alpha is the cutout, that's the mask.
Let me see. Let me see something. If I go to source. Oh man.
Mask, that's a cookie cutter, as it were, and then the foreground is what we see within that shape. Now, if I click on the title, on the timeline, we can just zoom this in, change the position, change the angle, do whatever we want to do. But as you can see, we're changing the size of the mask, not the video within the mask. If we go to the video above, same thing, we zoom this in and out, we're changing the size of the video within the mask, but not the actual text itself. If we want to move all of these two things together, the easiest way to do it is just highlight them both on the timeline, right click, convert this to a new compound clip, I'll call mine Alex, and then click create. Now, if we give that compound clip
Geometric. Wait. I just had an idea. Oh, this sucks.
Stuck in tutorial help. Stuck in tutorial.
Call
Stuck in tutorial help.
call Oh my gosh, I've been doing it on the wrong clip. Okay, so I have an idea. First, we need to go back to the paper clip. Paper tear.
In tutorial help.
Boom.
Stuck in tutorial. In
Okay. Let's do a fusion composition of this. And all I want to do is... Delta here. Let's add that. Why is it doing this? Delta here. Oh, you know how I can do it?
stuck in tutorial help.
So I want it the opposite way. So we can do that.
Stuck in tutorial. Stuck in
Stuck in tutorial. Oh, it doesn't work that way because shoot. It uses the shape. No, I do want subtract. No, I don't want add or subtract. I want, actually no, so I do want subtract, but then I want to go to colors.
Hello and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to be teaching you everything you need to know to invert colors in DaVinci Resolve. So if you're looking to learn, let's jump into it. Alright, so for this video, we're going to be using this clip here, which is just of flowers. The first thing I'm going to show you is in the colors tab, because that's, I think, it's super easy. If you're in one of these menus, go ahead and pop back into your curves menu, and once you're in your curves menu, you can go ahead and grab this little white thing right here. So you can slide these, and then from the top, just drag it all the way down to the bottom, and you've got
Stuck into into in tutorial. Dang it. Okay, well, we're making progress, but I'm gonna have to figure this out another day.